Hello truth seekers, Lawrence here and welcome back to the channel. So, life is good, everything is running well, and suddenly something happens, and how do you feel? The tendency is we get upset, isn't it? And when we get upset, what happens next? We start to create that mental narratives in our heads, right? Especially, prolonging the negative narratives. And our environment is teaching us, how to be positive, stay positive in the time of chaos. And we may remember to do that. Now, inviting the positive reference is a good start. But if we are ignoring the root cause of the suffering, then that surface level of positivity is not going to help us in dissolving the mind, dissolving the fear, and life is going to continue in the same cycle of suffering and fluctuation. So, if you want to be mentally free, and if we don't want to get upset in the future, then we have to look into the root cause of our surface suffering. For example, we are looking into our upset experience. So when we get upset, we have to investigate our mind. Why do we get upset in the first place? The reason we get upset is because we have a preference in life. We have certain expectation, and when we don't meet our expectation, when things don't align with our preference, those things trigger us to get upset. Now, that's the surface, right? But we really have to look in and investigate why we really get upset with the things, with our environment, or even with ourselves. Why do we get upset? And when we ask ourselves why, that why is going to help us to trace back the mind to its root. And the root itself is the preference. But and that preference, that we are maintaining that preference, is because of many reasons, and we have to trace back why on those reasoning as well. And that's the way to figure out the truth, the plain sight truth. And seeing the plain sight truth is the way to not to get fluctuated in the future. But if you don't figure out the truth and don't, trace back the mind to its root and uproot the root, then we are allowing ourselves to continue the same cycle of pattern, the conditioning, and we are already suffering, and we are allowing the future suffering to arise in the future. And we are simply doing that. We're basically imprisoning ourselves in life. Yes, the environment, the people will fluctuate our life, but in deeper reality, we are allowing ourselves to fluctuate because we are not looking into the root cause of our fluctuation. So to be free, mentally free, and not get fluctuated by the world is by figuring out the root and uprooting the root, which is simply about tracing our mind backward all the way until we cannot trace back further. And that's where, when we ask ourselves, who am I? That's that inquiry itself is going to help us to see the plain sight truth. And seeing the plain sight truth is the ultimate freedom from the mind. But just tracing back the mind to its root and refining the mind is a relative freedom. But don't stop there. Go all the way back to figure out the ultimate truth, the unchanging truth, and that's the true freedom, my friend. So we can use any scenario in our lives to get to the plain sight truth. And today I invite you to look into your upset experience and trace it back to its root, and don't stop there to its root. Go further in dismantling the reasoning as well, and see what happens. See how far you can trace back your mind today. And if you have this understanding that inquiring the mind is to understand the nature of the mind and is the way to dissolve the mind, then you know what to do. You will align with this approach. If you don't have the understanding, then still try it and see how far you can trace back and see what happens from tracing back your mind. Okay, so give that a go today and see how far you can trace your mind. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope you're doing good. Take care for now. Bye.